ready slicked, trenching your gushing entrails bricht like ony ditch. But then, oh, what a sight! Warm, reeking, and rich. Then horn for horn they stretch and strive, deal take the hindmost, on they drive, till the wheel-swelled kites belide are bent like drums. The old Goodman's maist like to rive. We think it hums. Well, is there that hour is French ragout, or olio that would staw a sou, or fricassee that would mak her spew with perfect scunner, looks doon with sneering scornful view on sick a dinner? Poor devil. Same hour is trash, as feckless as a withered rash. His spindle
All right, guys.
Drew couldn't keep going.
That's all I could do.
So, what did he say?
Something about haggis.
Oh man, that's horrible.
Hey guys, happy Thursday.
Hey guys, it is Scotch for Dummies.
It is more than just Happy Thursday Scotch for Dummies. We are celebrating
Burns night.
Burns Night.
It's not Burns
just
night.
Got dressed for the occasion.
We did, but we're getting ahead of ourselves.
We are.
So who all do we have here tonight?
We have
I'm
a lot.
Andrew.
Hold on a second.
I'm Mark.
I'm Drew.
I'm Sean.
And Greg.
Special guest Greg tonight.
Yep.
Greg has brought some samples, and he's got some stuff that was going to help us have a show tonight.
Yeah, we're actually
40% samples, and I bought another sample.
but we're gonna try to respond to some of the comments on the Lagavulin video from this week.
Right.
We're going to have to do that a little bit later in the show, though, because we've got something else coming up.
Yeah, we had a little sideways there.
Yeah, we got blind tasting that came out of nowhere, so we prepped for that. We've got that. We want to talk about Burns Night a little bit more. We want to get into the Log 16 and the re-review, or kind of one of our first re-reviews that we're starting, right?
Yep.
What else? There's a little bit of Scotch in the news that has to do with Burns Night, so we'll get into that as well.
Yep. We got all kinds of stuff going on.
Who all's on, man?
We got a bunch of people on. I see Bud Matthews is on, and how could he not be?
Yeah.
Being the guy in charge of the Lagavulin Appreciation
We had a
Society.
good shout out for him too during the show. I know
Yeah,
he's
we
got
did.
some new members since then.
Heavy.
Very good. That's excellent.
Yeah, so Jules from Scotland, and hopefully her husband's up by now. She was on the pre-show with us, so that's awesome.
Stuart.
One of your guys from your PUBG
Oh
group.
yeah,
He's
the
on
Xbox
there.
PUBG guy, Nick.
Yeah.
What's going on?
What's up, Nick?
Bob H is on there. Jimmy T, Whiskey to Success. Osiris is on there. Everwind, as always.
Ahoy.
Brad Murphy.
Ahoy.
Justin Overpeck made it to another live stream. Welcome, sir.
Nice.
Navdeep Gill.
Whiskey
Steve A. Is he? Do we know him?
We got Andrew Spurl's on. One Lost Cause.
The Linux Cat is back on again.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Eric
Nice.
Dollar.
Mark Sullivan, man. Mark's a great name. I'll drink to that.
Donner
Captain-
Pass Whiskey.
Captain 3D, always good to see him
And
on.
I saw
Malt
Bree-
Million.
Sunday Evening and Bree are both on.
Nice.
Eric Waite's on.
Bob A.
We'll talk about those two in a little
There's
bit.
Stuart.
Jack's on.
Stuart!
Looks like we got a lot of good people on. So
Yeah.
cheers, everybody. Welcome
Yeah,
to the
cheers,
show.
Welcome to the
man.
show. Welcome to the show.
Long week, guys.
Oh,
Yeah,
my God.
It has been.
So let's talk a little bit before we get going into everything about Burns Night. We watched
So, yeah.
part of the poem, right?
Yep.
Yeah, we screwed it up, of course.
I was going to read it, but Drew didn't have any confidence in my
Well, you
language
can
abilities.
still read some if you really want to, but I thought you gotta have that
He
accent.
covered it probably. I don't
He
know.
was probably
Except if I
I
script the
did.
sound.
I think I would have done okay, honestly.
You know what?
That's fine.
For those of you that are coming on a tour, Sean and I will work on this
Yeah,
a little
we'll-
bit more. We'll be more prepared.
We'll be good, man. You're going to get more of a show than you realize.
We might have a proper haggis in front of us when we dice this thing.
I got news for you. If I got a knife, it's getting cut.
I'll bring one.
So I don't know if you guys are familiar with Robert Burns and his works.
261 years old.
Yep.
Saturday.
Saturday is his birthday.
So we're a little bit early, but
And the Burns Night tradition has been around for a really long time.
Yep.
I mean,
Celebrated
right
worldwide.
after his death, they started an appreciation society, and it's kind of been in the same format ever since.
yep.
He's a national
Which-
hero of sorts. I mean,
It's pretty cool. What he did, collecting some of the, I guess, folklore, stories and songs around Scotland and,
Right.
and kind of popularizing a lot of that stuff so that it was more broadly known. And he was also kind of I don't want to say he was outspoken. So I guess that's
Sure.
probably
Tons
the
of
best
poems.
way to And he wrote in traditional Scottish and then like an English mashup and then in English as well. So
Traditional Scottish Gaelic, is that?
yeah,
Which is what makes it fun for us to try to understand.
Yeah.
Like, what?
So my first experience was with you a couple of years ago, and I posted. I had a recording for my phone. It's not a very good recording, but we were on our tour a couple of years ago now, and our good friend Niall,
Who's our tour guide?
Tour guide. He actually did it, and everybody loved it. We ate it up, right? And I've never heard of it since then. Now, of course, I've heard of it a million times and know what it is now, but it's something to really appreciate with the tongue, right? The proper tongue.
Right.
And so if you've never had a chance to be involved in a Burns Night dinner, I don't see why you wouldn't.
Why you shouldn't.
But if you live in the States, probably not having haggis.
Now, why is that?
Correct.
Well, why aren't we
Do you
having
have an
haggis?
intro for Chef Scotch?
Yeah, well,
American eyes.
yeah, you can have a
American version,
yeah,
which isn't really haggis.
right, yeah. There
Even if it's cooked?
are certain ingredients, namely lung tissue, that the USDA frowns upon because you can't properly clean it.
Right.
Because it's got all sorts of pockets
Yeah.
in it. So while you could, back in the day, they were using it straight out of a freshly killed animal.
Right.
There wasn't time for bacteria to do anything harmful, and so it wasn't that big a deal. But for the USDA, if you're trying to ship sheep's lung into the United States, they frown upon that because you can't properly get all that
Well,
stuff
isn't
out there.
TB something that's transmitted in the lung? Very.
But
So-
it's mainly because you just can't,
Right.
there's pockets and
Okay.
you can't get it clean. So
So, Eric Wave always shows that he has a canned haggis.
Mhm.
So if it's made in Scotland and canned there, so it's already cooked, can you have the lung in it, or is it raw lung that's the problem, or is it any
it's
lung?
probably the raw
I would
lung
think
that's
the
the
raw.
problem. If it's cooked, then you've got it up to industrial processing temperatures and techniques, and then it's canned, and so then it's a stable food
Okay.
product. So it's probably fine at that point. But have you ever had anything that's canned that's better than?
No.
Exactly. So
No. Now,
it's
when
kind
you-
of
when
like
you
eating
see-
canned asparagus versus fresh asparagus.
Well, and when you
It's
see
not
that,
gonna be the same.
when you see them bring that stomach out and split it open and it peels open, I can't imagine what it looks like in a can. Or is it just like they take a slice and drop it in a can and it's like good
Well,
to go?
so have you
How do they
seen
do that?
Alien? There's a scene where
Yeah.
that flops over on the. No, I'm just kidding. I had haggis at the SMWS.
It's not
with
as
Roy.
bad as you think it is.
No, I think it's probably good. All
It's-
the oats and stuff in
It's
it.
Yeah.
much more grain. Yeah, there's
It
a lot of
is.
oat, and
It is.
it took. I had to take a leap of faith, but I trusted Roy. It was good.
It was good. He showed it to us there, and we had
Yep.
some, and
Yeah.
definitely more grainy than I thought it was. So
I don't turn my nose up at anything, so.
I'll try.
There's a haggis. I'll probably do the address and get a knife out and cut that thing open.
I'd love to do it.
They
Yeah,
serve
squeeze it.
haggis for breakfast a lot over there.
Woo,
so-
there you go. Eric
Yeah.
says he would challenge anybody to tell you a blind tasting between the canned and the regular.
No way.
Really? I don't know. He's had it more than I have. I
Well,
can't.
they're 8 times in Scotland, twice in Canada.
Canned pumpkin spice spam is banging. So
Thanks,
there's been a
David.
couple other
Wow.
people that have joined on. I see Lee, Scott's in the Bayou is on, and then there was somebody that was
Rostislav?
new.
Rasta.
No?
Yeah, Trap.
Whiskey Mystery?
Yeah, there's Rostislav Traps. I was just saying hi to a couple of the new people that have come on. One Lost Cause. Yeah, let's do it.
Stuart?
Try Quetra UK.
That's
Nice.
Stuart? Oh,
So-
yeah, okay.
So on Saturday, around the world, people are going to celebrate Burns Night, right?
Yep.
And there'll be
Yep,
plenty
it's a big deal.
of scotch to drink, and I'm sure where they can, they'll be eating haggis, and they will recite that poem at every one of them.
Yep.
But in light of that,
Yes,
there's
Bob.
been to tie in Scotch in the news. You got it? Hang on, wait. Cue it in.
Hey, I guess it's Scotch in the news. I didn't know I was supposed to do something.
Yeah, you got to do the intro. You're Sean. This is Scotch in the News. No,
It's not my news article.
no, it's not much of a Scotch in the News, but it does have to do with Burns Night. So, and looking on out there and what's going on in Scotch wide world, aside from Tariffs, whatever. We can still talk about those, but I'm getting bored with those. It was Scotch. It was Burns Night, and so there were a few articles. I found one. Sean found a couple. What Scotch to drink on Burns Night? You know, it's a good conversation piece. Why not talk about it? So we pulled up this article from Forbes, and what caught my attention was the fact that the person they're interviewing to select these 8 Scotches that he chose is someone that we know. It's Tommy from Fine and Rare. We've eaten at his restaurant a couple times in New York City, Manhattan.
Oh, man.
Super nice guy.
That's
He
a good
also
place,
owns
too.
the Flatiron. That's what it's called, right?
Yeah,
The Flatiron. And it's a huge
Flatiron
whiskey
Grill.
bar.
That's Tommy.
I mean, incredible whiskey selections. Steph's taking us there. They had some incredible jazz. It's just an
Yeah, it's
awesome
like just
venue.
a cool. It feels like you stepped into the 1920s.
But
It really
good
does.
food, good
It's
whiskey,
such a cool place.
good music, good environment. So Tommy went and selected
Look at those.
these 8 whiskeys that he recommends someone would drink on Burns Night. It starts off with OP15.
I think he's watching our reviews.
King Alexander III, bingo. Springbank 12, cask strength. Boonhaven 18. I'm going bang, bang,
Yeah.
bang.
Oh,
I'm like,
These are all money makers.
right. I mean,
Good stuff.
exactly. The only one I have not had is the Scapa Skurin, which I'm sure somebody on this
oh my
channel
gosh, it's like everything we've ever liked.
Signet, Balvenie 14. So
Bourbon cask?
it was something fun that I wanted to point out to everybody
Man.
because we know,
I think he watched
we've
our
had
videos
dinner with a
for
guy and but I can't disagree with any of his selections. They're not bad.
It was funny to me because I was looking through for Scotch in the News. I was actually searching for a very specific bit of information because I had heard on an interview that since the tariffs were put in place, that Scotch whiskey imports were down 30%. And so I had been scouring the internet trying to find like a government site or something that had like specific information about the imports and exports and if that was accurate. I couldn't find anything, and I looked all over the place for it and was unsuccessful. But if that's the case, we've talked about some of the things that might occur, and I was kind of curious if anybody's got any like granular information about like, is it higher end stuff that's being cast off? Is it just like 30% across the board? Like we usually get 3 of these bottles, now we're down to 2. You know what I mean? Or if they were targeting specific, and they even went so far as to say it was a guy that was being interviewed on WhiskeyCast. He even said that he was a member of the trade group, and he said that there was a couple of distilleries that were flat out just not coming to the U.S. anymore.
Really?
They just couldn't afford to get into the market, and they didn't feel
That makes
like
sense.
they could compete at the price that their whiskey would have to be sold at with the tariffs in place, and so they were
Right.
just skipping it.
Yep.
Which is, that's awful.
It is awful. I read an article about it tonight, and it said that some of these distributors and importers, where they would normally allocate, let's say, $100,000 to Scotch for a year, because of this looming tariffs and stuff, they're putting $400,000 into it. They just want to get it here because once it's here, it's already it's
Right. It's a sunk cost.
Right. So it's a matter of spending a lot now and storing it to not have to spend that extra
Right.
in tariff, but.
Well, and if you can afford to do that, so
Right.
the big players could afford to do
Yeah,
that to
exactly.
an extent and try and ride it out a little bit. But I did find a interview with one of the distillery managers from Spey, and which I thought was interesting because this
Right.
of the year and we're going to visit him, and he was saying that they were just they were still trying to put a little bit into the market, but they were just trying to maintain, and all of their efforts were going towards China.
Which they're killing
And
right
they
now.
were
so why
focused
wouldn't you?
on getting into that market and really pushing their
can't blame
whiskeys
'em.
over there, and they're just leaving us
Can't blame
out.
'em.
They're ripping that market, and hey,
You know?
it's big. It's
Yeah.
There's a ton of people.
So-
There's a billion people.
So
Even if you get, even if the Scotch drinking is a quarter of what the U.S. is,
it's still a lot of people.
it's still a billion people.
I think there's going to be a lot of strategies based on how big your company is. If you're Diageo, you can afford to kind of slug it out a little bit and maybe take a little bit of a hit getting your stuff into the market, and you're your own importer, so you can control your pricing a little bit more. Whereas a lot of these guys, if you're a smaller distillery and you're trying to get your stuff into the market,
tough.
you're at the mercy of that importer getting their stuff in, and then what they price it up to. You've got a distributor involved. It's a lot harder to dictate how the market goes at that point. So I don't know. I think this year is going to be a little topsy-turvy on whiskey prices in the United States.
we'll see. The one article I read had made a comment, if it gets out of hand, it'll just turn a lot more people to bourbon. And I'm like,
That's correct.
Not this guy. I'll just hunker down and
Well, the
rely
thing is,
on my stash.
In your Scotch bunker.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's right.
once you've gone to Scotch, going back to bourbon is okay. Well, it's okay, but it's not going to be your specialty. So that's my opinion.
But also, is tariffs affecting the ones coming from like Germany and the
If
Netherlands?
it is
No.
single malt Scotch
If
whiskey,
it's single
Okay.
malt, right.
but there isn't a tariff on blendeds.
No.
So
White
there's-
Walker, no tariff.
right?
Whatever.
Which, well, and you've got to think about that too. So, like a big company like Diageo that's importing both can afford to take a little bit of a hit on their single malts because they're making up for it on the other side. But a company like Spey, that their whole product line
Single
is
malt.
all single malt Scotch coming into the country. Like, I can understand some of these smaller guys being like, "Well, we're out, Jerry." You know what I mean? Like we can't get our stuff into market and compete.
Interestingly enough about this topic, though, so I got 2 bottles in the mail today. Just showed up today. It was from Whiskey Exclusive. It was the Kilkerran. You just brought a couple bottles that for these guys that Mike Porter had ordered. Anyway, long story short, the guy that runs that online store, I've communicated with him. I've actually called. He's called me. We've talked on the phone because I've ordered from him before, and he was very interested to see how this transaction was going to take place. So in
A dark alley?
Well, no, it's like
a little
I
bit.
want to know how the shipping goes. I want to know when it shows up to your door. I want to know if you have to pay an extra tax. And so I talked to him and I said, okay, I'll let you know. So I actually already emailed him. But when I hung up, I thought maybe he's never been to the States and doesn't realize that that's never how it's going to go. The mailman's not going to come up to my door and say, hey, you owe an extra 25% tariff on this Scotch, so here, cough it up. No, that it's paid at customs, and it's not. So.
But
Anyway,
that's weird because
in other countries, it might be that way.
yeah,
I
when
don't know.
when I ship stuff to Europe, samples or which we can't ship, but
The owl.
But
You
even,
mean the
but even
owl.
like
Not us.
no, but even like T-shirts and coins and stuff, if it goes above a certain threshold,
Of money,
it
of value.
it stops at the border, and for those guys to receive it, they have to go to the customs
No, it's a
office
pain in the
and
butt.
pay an extra tariff to be able to get their
It's a
merchandise.
pain in
Which
the butt.
sucks because our stuff is priceless.
Exactly. And so, and it's like if I put the real value, so you may pay $10 for a coin, but really it's like worth 50 or 100. So if I put that on the label, on the customs form that I have to fill out, then they got to pay 20%
Right.
VAT on that stuff. It's ridiculous.
It's kind of a weird thing to figure out and see how it went. By the way, it showed up. The bottles were great. I mean, the shipping was
What?
a little
Holy cow, that's
Custom.
awesome. Did you guys see this from Michael?
late to the party. Tuning in from Oil Rig and where?
Azerbaijan?
Where the hell's that?
That is pretty badass. I'm in an oil rig.
rig. Well, if I had something
Whoa.
poured, I'd drink to you. We will here in a second.
Yeah, we needed.
We'll set the stage for
time to
You
this.
know
It's
what?
time
We
to-
got some peaty stuff mixed with oil pretty soon here. We're
Right.
So,
All right.
before we really dive into the review from this week, the re-review of Log 16, we had a special sample that showed up. So Sunday Evening Scotch
I don't think we should do this.
has-
or you guys shouldn't. I'll do it.
had 3 different bottlings of Allardyce, Glendronach Allardyce,
We could
which
call
is
Dr. Scotch.
18-year-old age statement. But everybody knows the story about Glendronach shutting down, and so Allardyce right now is the hot one in front that's getting ready to, it's the oldest it ever will be before it goes back to 18. So at the end of the day, Michael sent us an Allardyce 18 that is 18 years old. He sent us an Allardyce 18 that is 20 years old. He sent us a sample of Allardyce 18 that is 22 years old. And then I brought a bottle of Allardyce 18 that is 24 years old. So what you see in front of you are 4 different pourings of Glendronach Allardyce 18. Technically, they're all different ages. Nobody knows which one's which. I've got them labeled with little colored stars on it and written down. It doesn't. So who knows which one's what? We're gonna pass these around and we're gonna see. Is there a difference between the 18, 20, 22, and 24-year-old Glendronach Allardyces? Can you tell them the
We
color?
think one's.
I think this one's darker.
That one's darker.
This one's darker. I don't know if what that means, but it is darker. And then it almost goes.
They're very close.
It's harder to tell because this one's got a little bit of the glass itself. but
This one is definitely darker,
Yes.
but the other 3 I can't really
it's
tell.
right.
These two are very close. It's a shade darker.
So do we know Glendronach adds no color, right?
No, they do
So
not.
this is only barrel color.
Yep.
Okay.
And one's White Walker with E150.
Awesome. I'll be able to tell
So
that.
anyway, grab the first
That's my
one
new
and
game
start
with
it
us.
around. So I don't necessarily want
I'm
to.
done.
I'm not trying to grade them on which one I like best or what. I'm trying to see what the differences are. Is there a difference?
It would be interesting to see if there's a subtlest difference, a big difference.
Nose
Does-
first, or
does pass or back
We'll do the
already?
nose. Puff, puff, give.
I mean,
Ooh, this is lighter.
it
So
is.
you already telling a
Yeah,
difference?
that's got a more aggressive nose
Are
on
they
it.
all the same ABVs?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Which it's on. I don't remember. What's the ABV on Allardyce? 46.
Yeah,
46,
that nose is
I think.
completely different.
Oh, and this one's fruitier.
Like not even close.
yeah.
Great.
And
This
this
is
one
gonna
is
get-
definitely lighter.
This is going to get
So,
different.
so I'm going to say, for those on the podcast, we're going to have to be talking in colors of stars. So the
True,
the
true.
gold star.
Why don't you
Is it-
set us up here to the stage for the podcast?
All right,
what
so-
we got going on?
So the first one we started talking about. What the color of the star on that?
Blue.
We're going to try and keep in order. So we start with blue, then what's
Green.
then green, then yellow, and then we will finish it up with a silver star.
That smells wonderful.
So a silver star.
This is the blue.
Silver Star is the darkest, but oddly enough, it has less fruity, less light, and more of an aggressive smell as well. Nose on it. So you got to explain. Start talking in the color of your star as you make your observations.
I get an acetone note on the silver.
The silver, while darkest, I think has arguably the least pleasant nose. I'll need to go smell that
I don't
first
know.
one.
This I feel like they're so the blue one's pleasant. Oh, no,
Oh wow, this is
it's nice. The deep, rich
blue.
smell
The blue
to
is
it.
nice.
This one, the green. I like the green too. It smells lighter, so you get a little bit more fruit on it. I think.
Drew's going to be the bottleneck here.
so. I just tasted the blue.
I know.
It is definitely lighter. It is definitely. The green is definitely lighter.
This one
on the-
smells. So I'm on yellow or gold. It smells a lot like green.
I think this one smells a little bit more grainy. I can smell a little bit more whether it's straw or the barley. It's not malty though.
I think the gold is a little bit more richer than the green is.
Ooh, this yellow, the gold is sweet.
Yes.
I'll tell you what, man. That's tough to beat right there. It's got sweet, it's got malt. There's a nice round spice note going on.
Sean doesn't even care. He just wants to drink them.
I'm on the
that's a
silver. It's got
nice
a bit of
glass.
funkiness to it.
So Sean just tasted the blue. The green is again, it is lighter. It doesn't have the punch and
smells
the
nice, too.
power and the
little more funky.
oak and the the woodiness of the blue one or the blue one.
Yeah, blue.
All right, so time for me to try the
Yeah,
gold.
The silver smells a little funky. It actually smells like really young fruit.
It smells like it's like more ripeness to it than the other ones.
So this green one, it tastes like a little bit lighter version, almost like you put water on the blue one. It's got all the same characteristics. I get the spice, but it's less. It's a little bit sweeter.
Am I jumping the gun?
I get a little bit of the oak notes out of it, a little bit more than I did on the blue. It seems like a little more approachable in that regard, but it's definitely like you can tell they're related very closely, but they're
But
different.
they're not the same.
They are
for
not
sure.
the same.
So
Absolutely
the
not the
silver,
same.
I'm probably going out on a limb and I'm completely wrong. I'm going to get smashed for this, but blind, it smells younger. It just smells more youthful. It smells like it's not as old as the
Keep
others.
in mind, none of these are under 18. So none of these are young Scotch.
Freaking talent, baby.
Yeah. So
Blue is
So-
more leathery so far.
So the
tell me about the
gold,
gold, Mark.
You haven't tasted any of
I
it,
just
Sean,
did.
but just the blue.
Yeah.
the
So
gold.
it's more leathery than what?
I'm just saying. It's
Go ahead, Sean.
leathery.
Oh, okay.
It is leathery.
Sean, talk about the gold.
Thanks.
These
Jackass.
guys, you guys are the reason the podcast gets ruined.
They'll drink to it.
So the gold to me is in between the blue and the green. It's still full bodied. It's not as spicy as the blue, but it's a little more well rounded, I think. The sweet is not quite as prevalent. It's good. It's full bodied. I like it. I mean, I like all of them. Don't get me wrong.
So
I'm not gonna care which one you give me. You know what I mean?
So the silver is interesting because it doesn't have the potency punch of the blue or the gold in my opinion.
And this is the darkest of the four.
It is.
Yeah.
It's
What,
like
green?
Yeah.
they used over sherried casks and didn't give the age to it.
I think the green smells much more. What kind of sherry is used in this? Is it PX?
I
Pull the bottle. It's right behind you.
Well, what?
It doesn't matter. We won't know which one's which. I just wanted to read the label on the
Oh,
bottle.
okay.
Oh, sir.
Is it?
So the green has
It smells
it's like
more
like
sherry.
pruny almost. It's got a taste on it.
All right, Greg, try this last one.
I have to say that blue I think is arguably my favorite of the
Yes.
four. And then I would probably go.
I think green's pretty darn good too, though.
Silver,
I'm not
no.
knocking green.
I'm gonna go blue. What's that?
Gold.
Gold.
Yeah.
This one and that one. Green and silver last.
I will say there is a considerable difference between the first two.
Go with the blue guy.
Both wonderful, different scotches. I haven't drank this
Oh
one.
man,
yet.
come on, man.
Hey now.
Bottleneck.
So that's the question. So people are saying which is which. We don't know yet.
I'll reveal as soon as I taste the last two. Stand by.
There's a bottleneck in the back. They're thinking about it a little too hard.
Oh my gosh,
So
they're all wonderful.
I'm going
They're all
blue,
good.
gold, green so far. We'll see what silver does.
Where's blue? Who's got blue? Hurry up.
Yeah, that gold is.
I'm gonna
is
try that one more
fire.
time. They're all. I mean, okay. So first of all,
Blue, gold.
is it safe to say that yes, I agree that
Yeah.
they smell similar and taste similar, but there are differences.
Oh yeah.
Which
I
one
the
I'll
don't
thing
know
is-
that they smell similar. I mean, they
No.
do, but I think the noses are very different, even more so than the palate. The palate is actually, I don't want to say super close, but reasonably close.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Like a
degrees.
foundational?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can tell a difference.
And
but-
you're not going to be able to tell the difference if you're drinking one at your house and I'm drinking a different one at my house, and I say I get spice and sweet, and I describe it to you, you're going to pick up the same stuff. It's all there, but it's
even know what to do
in
with
a different ratio.
Right.
Is kind of what I'm getting out of this experiment. So,
All right.
did
so
we win? I feel like we won.
I think we're winners.
Hold on.
but
I would go blue, gold,
So-
green, silver too. That's
no,
crazy.
I'm going green first.
Green?
Yep.
what did
Green is the youngest.
No,
We
that's
don't know
my
the
favorite.
Oh, okay.
what did you say?
I
'Cause
said,
I said the same thing as you.
blue, gold, green, silver.
I'm doing green, silver, gold, blue.
What were you? I said the same thing as Sean.
Yeah.
I think I did too.
That's weird.
I knew I'd said the same thing before I looked at it, but
So I'm sitting here nosing them all again
Did you write
to
these down?
try and.
Kinda.
So
Oh,
What's going on?
KB, holy.
Oh,
KB, you're
good
killing
Lord,
me.
KB.
good evening.
Well,
So what?
well,
So I'm gonna.
cheers.
I'm gonna ask Drew. What did you order? You said green.
Green,
You had
I
blue
think
last.
green, gold,
Silver.
silver, blue. I think.
Don't act like you don't know so you can drink more.
I'll do the green one.
you did the blue last.
Yeah.
That
I
was
did
what
do-
you said.
I know. Green
gold
was
is
first. Who's
good.
green?
All right,
Man.
big reveal.
Hang on a second. What was your take on it?
Silver.
Cheers, KB. Thank you.
Thank you, KB.
Blue, gold, silver, green.
Okay. So you're the same as us two? Or?
I'm gonna go with that for now.
Okay, so
That's
here's
silver.
the irony.
That silver's growing up on me.
In order, I'm going to do the ages.
Okay.
24, 22, 2018.
Oh my gosh! We
Right
did-
down, right down the
That's
line.
what I had too.
I like the 24 best,
Uh-huh.
22nd, 22 second. I like the 23rd and the 18th.
So I'm the opposite, huh?
Yeah, you're all over the
He likes the babies. He likes 18-year-olds.
I honestly want to be a little different. Just in case.
It's
Play
crazy.
the odds.
So
He was a little bit off. He started off with blue,
Yeah.
and then I think you went gold, silver, green.
Yeah.
that is
I
crazy.
honestly, that silver stuck out to me as just being the youngest one. I don't know why. It just didn't seem like it had the depth of the other one.
The interesting thing is, they're all good.
Oh,
my
yeah.
God,
They're all
phenomenal.
winners.
Okay, that really,
So
honestly,
Thanks,
that
thanks
wa-
Michael, for saying
that was really
Absolutely,
cool.
that was a lot
That
of
was
fun.
completely
You got
blind.
the big-
Mark may have known, but the
I
rest of
know
us
I poured them
literally.
like an hour ago.
I walked in here and there's these glasses poured. I'm like, what's that?
Yeah,
So-
and-
Yeah, mine's all over the place, Michael. I did it like I don't know, like green, yellow, green, gold, silver, blue. So I
Yeah,
did
you had
it.
blue last. Yeah.
yeah, you had the 24 last. You did green. Yeah, you
All right, so
did
now that I
20,
know,
18,
let me look
22,
at this
No, I
24.
did 20, 22, 8, and
Oh, what do you know? The
24.
blue's empty.
I wonder how that
I
happened.
guess we'll have to pour some more.
of course, they want to pour more of the blue, and that's the one that I brought, and there's a bottle of
And then we have extra.
If anybody's looking for Allardyce 18, that's 24 years old, there's still some in.
Damn
Whiskey,
it, I'm gonna
Whiskey
buy a
Exclusive
bottle.
does
I'm
have
about to
some.
buy a bottle now. I forgot how good this was. This is our breakfast Scotch at KB's.
It is. And I'll tell you what, if you guys get a chance, if you haven't had one before, go out and buy one because it's really exceptional Scotch. It really is. Even the 18 was wonderful stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't
the
mean to
regular
make it
old
sound
18,
like it
yeah.
was bad. It's not.
They're all good.
So
go get some.
everyone asks, what did the age taste like? So what about the 24 was that much better than the 18?
So
Richer.
to me, it was a richer Scotch. It had more depth of character, so you could tell that it was a little more concentrated. It had a richer mouthfeel. You could just tell the difference. Now, I'm not saying that I thought that was the oldest one, but that was the one that I liked the best. Right. So when I went through and picked out, the ones that I liked the best, I was just picking them out in order of the ones that I thought had the best character, the best mouthfeel, the best overall put together flavor profile. And it just so happens that it turned out that was in order from the oldest to the youngest.
Yeah.
So
and so you have to consider when as they age, the alcohol and the water evaporate, but all the flavors don't. Mm-hmm. So while these are all at 46% ABV, there is a more potency of flavor because the alcohol and water evaporate, so all those flavors just kind of concentrate down. So that's why even if you dilute it out to 46% ABV, you still have more flavor in there. You just have fewer bottles, essentially. So that makes sense, and it's amazing that we picked that.
Sunday Evening Scotch said it. Mike Porter said it. He did a blind this way with the three that he had, the 18, 20, and 22. And you can see his order there in the comments. And he's right. When they do end up going back to 18 next year, and it's a true 18-year-old, it's still going to be good. I'll tell you what, that the gold, to me, it was actually more sweeter than the 24. The 22 was actually, I think the 24 lost a little bit of that sweetness, and I was just fine with it. To me, it was the one that I wanted the most.
The 24 had more of a spicy character to it. Just kind of more of a punch in the face a little bit. But they were all excellent. Like I said, I mean, a lot of them, it just tasted like you took the 24-year-old and put a little bit of water on it and just kind of watered it down a little bit, and it changed the flavor profile just a little bit and gave you some different characteristics, but none of it was bad.
What year was it?
The silver's 18.
I think
See, it's still good.
so.
It's
We
rich,
did.
it's flavorful, it's fruity. It has great flavor.
So for me, I think that I honestly I went a little different from you guys just to be different, but I also liked the funkiness of this one. For some reason, it had a little bit more funk to it than the other ones. And I'm really, I don't know, guys, I am really on a funk right now. I love the Springbank funk. I love everything that they're doing. I mean, even back to Macallan again. I'm starting to dig that stuff too. Yeah. So I don't know. We each have our own.
Hey man, it's a journey.
It changes.
So do we? Is it time to go to Wheelhouse?
So the 18. You're right, Mike. Sunday Evening Scotch. When we go back to drinking 18-year-old Allardyce, it's all right.
Oh yeah. By the way, I don't recall. I don't know if Travis is in here, but
He is. He was in there earlier.
Glendronach, didn't they just announce something? Or are they announcing something soon about some kind of? They had a website about some banner. Did you guys see that?
No, you're on to something.
Glendronach Appreciation Society or something like that.
Oh, the Glendronach Appreciation Society is launching a website.
Okay.
I think that's what it is. I know
I'm
that
sure you guys will tell me. In a minute.
the guy that runs that, Sean, is that his name? Sean Russell?
I think so.
I think that's his. I know that website has actually got the attention of Glendronach, and Sean has met Dr. Barry and interviewed her, and they've done some things.
Really?
They're closely tied. I mean, it's a strong Facebook group, and I think that their website that they're launching actually has input and a connection partnership with Glendronach.
That's
so
cool.
I don't know.
Very nice.
But if you're not a member of that on Facebook and you like Glendronach, you're missing out. I mean, there's a lot
we've
of
all
good
talked
ones.
about distillers we love, and I think we can all agree that if you said if you need to bathe in a bathtub of Glendronach, we'd be okay with that.
Yeah.
No problem. No problem.
Yep, I'm paying for that.
Where do I sign up?
Next.
Yeah.
I got dibs.
So that was fun. That was super cool.
It was neat.
Mike, I'm sending a sample of the 24-year-old Allardyce back with.
You're such a good person.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I'm saying it on so everybody knows. I'm sending a sample back with this guy.
It may not make it back to Greg's
So, Michael,
house.
if you get something that tastes like White Walker, you know it wasn't from us.
It's on Greg, man.
Hey.
But, that was fun. So, guys, here, there's still some out here.
that
Go
ain't-
on.
that-
Go
that-
on.
I'm drinking the gold. Is it gold? The silver was the.
Yeah, silver's 18.
18.
Gold is 22. 22.
It's all good, man. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah,
it
yeah.
just essentially the older ones just have more. I use the word funk, but that's not the right term. It's got more leatheriness to it, and that kind of flavor. It's not quite sour. It's not not the sweat sock, but it's got more twist to it that kind of builds it into more towards my wheelhouse because it's got that.
So
richness.
the silver, the youngest one, I honestly found the longer it sat without a coin on it, just oxidized, just got some air, I thought it got better. I thought the air helped it out.
Yeah.
The very first nose on it, I was like, there's a little bit of weirdness going on in this thing, right? And I think it just needed a little bit more time.
Lana.
You see what Steven
What's
said?
up, Lana?
What did Steve?
His Appreciation Society's getting a single cask.
Oh, is that what's going on? Nice. I wouldn't have. No surprise.
Get on that.
I want to get a single cask.
Don't we all? You didn't miss the Piper's line. If you want.
It's bad.
But Bud Matthews says he was promised Lagavulin
So
love.
we got a
Sorry.
spin on this for you actually. So Mark, help me out. So set the stage here. So we did the Lagavulin. You actually suggested it last week. We're talking through it. Re-review. It's been 4+ years since we did it. It's a staple in everybody's bar for us, absolutely. But the interesting thing was we didn't realize, honestly, guys, it's going like wildfire. People are watching it,
yeah.
and comments are crazy. And a lot of the comments, which I had no idea, are stating that the new Lagavulin 16 versus the old Lagavulin 16, there's a big difference. And guess what? Our friend Greg brought for us tonight.
An
older Lagavulin.
An older Lagavulin. Now, first of all, just to set the stage on what they are, this one we know how old we bought this one. I mean, this is bottled in 2018. Lagavulin 16 here. There you go. What you get off the shelf. I will say the packaging is even different. This is a little bit flimsier. It doesn't have cardboard inside it or anything like this. This older one,
It's a little bigger.
it's a bigger box because it's actually lined with thick cardboard in it. See?
Oh, that's cool.
It's got the bottle itself has this label across the top, like both 750s. So these neither one of these
The
are like
bottles look
a
the same?
European bottling or anything. The bottles, I don't know. I didn't even bother to look at them. We had a little bit of hard time trying to identify the actual date of the older one. We used the code, what'd you call it, lot code?
So there's a lot code on the bottle, and I did a
That's
quick
older.
internet search because everything's on the internet somewhere, right? And there was a Reddit thread that kind of talked about it a little bit, but it's kind of a proprietary thing.
Mm-hmm.
The guy that was looking for information on it ended up writing the distillery to see if he could get some more information on it. Because I guess he had a bottle that like his grandfather had or something, and so he was trying to figure out how old the bottle was, and so he had wrote to them, and they wrote back that it was proprietary. But somebody on the thread had said that you could tell the year by the first number, and then the day that it was bottled by the last three numbers. And so by that token, the first number was a 1, so it's either 2001 or 2011. There's a 1 on the bottle, like in the glass itself on the bottle. So I don't know. I would think that if it was 2011, that the glass in the bottle would say
Plus,
11.
it's a stamp inside the date.
No.
Not in the old
Not
one.
on the old one, it's not, bud. So interestingly enough, on the newer bottle, here's your code, L8. So that's 18. I know this was bottled in 18 because it says inside
Right.
the box, like Bud's saying. So 8
So-
stands for 18.
So
we
this
have
is
to-
at least 2011.
right. Okay, so
And
10
you said
year-
you bought
know-
it, what?
I thought it was like the 10 more years ago. So
So
Okay.
it's been a minute.
yeah.
So the comments, though, that we're talking about, everybody's saying that in the last 5 years, Lagavulin 16 has just kind of lost its quality control. It's not as good as it used to be. You've-
2011. It is in the box.
It is.
So Alan Ward says we all need to try.
It's inside.
Oh, you tore the cardboard out?
July 7th, 2011.
That Bud Matthews is a freaking genius.
He is a genius, man. That's
He knows his
awesome.
stuff.
He should start a Facebook group.
Damn, I'm joining. Hey, good on you, bud.
Yep,
So
that's a
anyway,
winner.
everybody said that about some distillery one time or another. People say about McAllen's. Everybody
Yeah.
says. Anyway, the thing is we don't know, and people have said it's not the same. Sean and I talked about it before the show. You made a couple of good comments, right? We're not bashing anybody's comments. or anything.
No,
We're just
absolutely
saying,
not. So, and we used to get this when we first started out. But there was a ton of people that would come on and just kind of not really beat us up, but be like, "Oh, if you think that's good, you should try this 28-year-old Scotch that they only made 40 bottles of that I bought 30 years ago." And it's like, well, that's great, but we don't have access to that. You know what I mean? And so the Lagavulin comments were kind of in the same vein, and I get it. If you've been drinking Scotch for a long time and Lagavulin was your bag,
Is that the younger one?
like you can bemoan the fact that the newer version doesn't taste like the older version, and it probably doesn't. And I'm not saying that you're wrong. We're going to find out because this is a little bit older bottle, so we're going to see if they changed a little bit maybe. But the fact remains that the reason we started the channel was to help people that are in a liquor store for maybe the first time trying to pick out a Scotch and they know nothing about any of them, and so for them. The bottle that's on the shelf is the only one they have access to, and it really is. So, we want to give them an idea of when you're picking that up. Now, 20 years from now, when they're watching this YouTube video, probably not going to help you too much.
You know what's
And
interesting?
we'll be those old guys that are like, you should have had it back in 2018. It was glorious. I remember back in 2019 that we had a bottle.
That's a good old man. I was talking to some friends this week that aren't Scotch drinkers. You know how many people I've talked to that say, "Oh, I don't like Scotch," because their first drink was an Isla. I mean, come on.
Something smoky.
Yeah. It's
Johnny
like,
Black.
You
And
don't
they're
know
like,
what-
oh,
you know,
that's not my
To
thing.
continue the discussion about the way back whens and stuff, it's great to bring it up anyway because you know what? Now we all know, or we're gonna find out, is there a difference? And if there is, it's great to know because when I'm going in looking for that dusty and I see all these bottles of Lagavulin 16, there's one with a little more dust, and I look at it, I'm like, oh snap. This one was bottled in 2009. I know it's different, and I know it's better. So, I mean, it's good information to share and talk about. And if you know a little bit more about it, comment about it, because we all learn from the conversation, is my point, I mean, I appreciated everyone's comments that brought it up, and that's why I was really glad when Greg showed up with a bottle that's a little bit older. And I was hoping to see a couple of our big log drinkers. I really want to see Hoagie from Germany because he's got some older bottles and he might be able to weigh in on it. But we're going to find out what this is about, especially considering I love Lagavulin. One of the comments, somebody had said this was their first Isla, peated Scotch. Yep. They loved it. What could we recommend with a similar profile? And I replied and said, well, that's the beauty of Isla peated Scotches is they all have their own profile.
Yeah,
right.
I'm sorry, but if you like this one, stick to this one. But try the others because
you may find one you like even better.
Right.
Yeah.
But they are unique. I mean, I can pour the ones out, and we can smell them, and
I mean, seriously, you could pour me 4 or 5 of them. I could like,
bam, bam, bam.
Yeah,
right, I know. But so this person obviously had never. It's their first peated Scotch, so they didn't know.
So I can tell you, after having sampled them both, it's kind of splitting hairs a little bit. There's a slight difference. Like, I found that one to be a little bit sweeter, a little bit more vanilla quality to it.
Which is which one?
I don't want to know.
So when I tasted them,
mixed them up anyway.
when I went through them, one was a much lighter nose. One had a much more potent nose.
True.
But then when you tasted them, it flipped. The one that had the light nose had a much more potent flavor, rich, punch in the nose or punch in the mouth kind of flavor.
Wow.
Whereas the other one was more muted, well balanced, excellent, but it was muted, which kind of surprised me. That one had a
deeper nose.
Weaker nose, stronger palate, stronger nose, weaker palate. That's the way it hit me on these two bottles, on these two glasses. Now I do know, and Sean might, Drew might know. Mark may know the differences. I know what they are, but
Chem rhetoric. What's that about?
Well,
how much is the juice change? It's actually changing your palate.
There is a difference.
yeah.
Now, to be fair, One's been open, one's not.
Yes,
be
that
fair.
is essentially a
But
neck pour
this
per se.
one-
But
Oh, that's the younger one, right? It's-
That's when it has the marker on
Keep
it.
the Lagavulin flowing, Greg
this
says.
this is actually better. I think it's richer.
Time out.
far.
So, yeah, now that I know which one's
on nose or palates?
Both.
Scotch, here, wheelhouse.
Wheelhouse.
Thanks,
Way to
Greg.
Thanks,
go.
Greg.
Cheers,
Appreciate
man.
it, buddy.
So since Drew brought it up, I thought the new bottle. So this is a newly opened 2011 bottle. It had the nose was weaker, but the palate seemed richer and bolder. And maybe that's because it's a brand new open bottle, and so the nose hasn't had time to develop, and the palate hasn't had time to waft off. So
Disagree.
I say nose is the nose is the nose. I mean,
they're not identical. You can't tell me the nose is the same.
They're
close
they're
enough
close.
to right. I mean, come on,
They're
man.
close.
Really?
They're very close. But there's a more richer. And I can't
Okay.
debate whether it's
Ben Dietrich. His
Ben
favorite
Dietrich.
his favorite Lagavulin is Port Charlotte.
Is Ben on here?
Yeah, so
man.
Leave
go
it to
through
them.
that one. So now that it's been around and it's been sitting out for a couple minutes, I want to smell the nose again. See if I
What
can
was your
put it
first take?
Before we do that, cheers to Greg.
out. Greg,
Thanks,
thank you.
Greg. Cheers.
Thank you.
He's got 2 glasses.
To be perfectly honest, I mean, were they slightly different? Yes. Was it enough for me to like search through 50 bottles
No.
to try and find one that's 1 year younger? Not really.
No, there wasn't drastic differences. No.
So, I mean, now if I get one back from the 1980s, is it going to taste different?
Probably.
Probably.
We know that from vintage.
Like the blended whiskeys do, so I don't see why my Lagavulin wouldn't
Right.
either. But
Agreed.
you know, I stuff changes over time. You know, and you get different people at the distillery. You know, and as much as they try and keep it the same, it's not going to be the same.
I'm gonna give you an out. I'm gonna give you an out right now. The out is you smelled them after they just been poured. A lot of more vitality going on in there with the vapors and
Mr.
you know,
Wheelhouse,
So
you're
I'm
on the
gonna give
spot.
you an out. After it made it all the way around here, and I nosed them. They've been open for a while. Man, we're not even splitting hairs. We're splitting freaking atoms, dude. It was like, oh, it's the same damn thing.
So
I don't think it's that close. I think it's close, but not that close.
it's not that close. The nose on the older one is the noses are much closer. The older one has a richness to it that and kind of a twang to, for lack of a better word, a twang to the mid to late
No,
palate
there's-
that is better.
What's the difference?
The younger one, maybe it's because it's been open for a while. It's
more
lost
popcorn.
some of that rich potency.
It's not the one I gave you. I gave you the other one. I don't appreciate your ruse.
your clever attempt to trick me.
That's what I'm talking about.
And so that's why I looked at them. So yes, I do know which is older and which is younger. But the key is I looked at them and like, is that what I would expect? But it isn't what I would expect. I would expect the younger one to have more rich flavor and the older one to be kind of earthier and.
What was it? So I didn't even look at which one that one was. So
That's the older one.
old-
That's the younger one.
There,
They're
we are
very
splitting
close.
hairs. I'll
Completely.
give you that. But there's enough difference if you think about it, there is difference. One is a little bit richer than the other one, just a tad.
And
I think.
I think it's the older one's a little rich.
I disagree.
What's your-
I think it's a newer one.
What? Let's get our guest's opinion on
All
this.
right.
Greg, what do you
All right.
feel about
Yep.
this?
The nose is definitely different, and yeah, there's a small difference in the taste. Though I would have to taste them again
Which
to
would
figure
you
out which
go?
one
Give-
was
give- give 'em a little
Which
taste.
do you know what you preferred at this time? Do you
No,
know?
I'm not talking about my head.
Okay.
So
So, Scotch on the Bayou, without sounding dirty, is the mouthfeel the same?
The mouth feels exactly the same.
Ooh.
I would agree.
ABV feels the same.
Thanks
Everything
for the
about it.
setup, Lee.
Honestly, okay. And to get back to my point about one being open or not, I mean, I know we try not to talk about this, but there is a difference between
They do.
open.
They oxidize.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
And I would say that this one has, I mean, it's halfway gone, right? It's been sitting up there for a while. There's a difference between that. I think that definitely helps. But I think that it's almost too close to really decide there's a difference. I think because it's open a little more, it might have a little bit of a difference. If this was brand new, apples to apples,
It would
I
be
think it would be
interesting.
even closer to
Yeah. So
being the same.
And we're talking about 2011, 2000. We're talking about 7-year difference. Maybe some of the comments. Now, most of the comments were saying 5+ years. But
Yeah.
let's. If you wind it back 15 or 20 years, I know there's a difference. I mean,
Sure there is.
we've talked about this. It's cask selection. It's it is what it is. But a couple points.
Unity.
This is what you find on the shelf today. Is it good or is it not? Is it fair to judge it against this? It's good to talk about it and bring it up. But at the end of the day, this is what you get, kids. This is what's on the shelf. Now, if you happen to find one of these, heck, grab it. Do you go out of your way and spend a lot more money for it, though, Sean?
No. There's
Right.
definitely not enough. There's not even close enough difference to say, oh, this is definitely worth
Right.
$50 more.
No,
Not
no,
even
no.
close.
No.
I would say it's you wouldn't even tell. I mean,
Yeah.
it's that close.
I would be curious to let this oxidize for 6 months and then
Yeah.
put it
Can we keep
against.
this
No, because I think that by that
Might be
point
6
it would be very close. you
I think
know?
it would be too. I think it would be too.
So, at the end of the day, what I get out of this whole tasting is that Lagavulin, in the past 10 or 15 years, has done an excellent job of quality control.
That's
They-
exactly where I was going. They're
They
master
are
blenders.
keeping the baseline just like this,
Well,
and I'm
But
good
going
with
back
that.
to our comments, though, that's the reason why we talked about this. People have said there's a difference.
Right.
I disagree. I think maybe a slight difference.
Slight, but
now,
not-
is this a true comparison
Well,
compared to what they're talking about?
now-
Maybe not.
Let's think about this from a different angle. Is there a difference in the liquid in the bottle, or is there a difference in the palate of the person tasting
Someone brought
Lagavulin?
that up.
What the memory is.
Absolutely.
I mean, we are shining examples of that.
Absolutely.
I don't know if we're shining, but yes.
Pretty damn dull.
Our
but-
damn examples from 5 years ago to today. I mean,
Yeah.
definitely
Although
changed.
I will say, when we do re-reviews, we are remarkably close.
That is true.
Even
That's
on
Talisker,
old
this
stuff,
one.
on what we actually get.
That's true.
We didn't
Yeah.
know what we were doing, but we were good at hitting the
We
numbers.
liked it or not.
So, in my view, if somebody says that Lagavulin has gone to crap in the last 5 years, I would disagree with them.
Well-
I think that is an overstatement of what the difference is between a bottle in 2011 versus a bottle in 2018.
Agreed. And Bud Matthews would be happy to come to your house
Right.
and talk
Oh,
to you
yeah.
about
So
it.
the other comment that I want to point out, and there were a ton, I didn't get through them all today. So if you
He'll be
commented
there.
and I didn't answer, I'm still working on them. But there was another comment that said the rumor is that Lagavulin is actually running out of some of their older age casks, and
I've
so
heard
that
that.
they're moving. That's why they're introducing an
Yep.
8, an 11, a 9, a 12. And they're really trying to set us up to freaking understand that it's going to start scaling back. And if that's the case, it's time to freaking bring out the guns and cause a revolution, bud. Because when Lagavulin 16 is not on the shelves anymore,
Well, so it'll be selling the shelves. It'll just be $150 a bottle.
I'm gonna try to hear all that.
That's what's going to happen. Is
When it
if-
costs
when,
about
it- when, they,
six-
when you
60
run
No
out.
time for that.
So the thing about Lagavulin, it will be different. The master blenders do whatever they can to try and keep them the same.
Sure.
But it's a natural product.
It is.
It's different grains. It's different barrels. It's
Different
different all
oak.
that. Yeah, exactly.
I will say that the thing that I picked up out of all the comments is the great range of prices for Lagavulin 16 everywhere.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
You know, we get people that are like, oh, it's $150 where I'm at, or translated into all the way down to like, it's $48. Why would you guys pay $100 for that bottle? And it's like, well, that's what it is at our liquor store.
I would love to pay 50.
Well, and also the appreciation for it. I mean, like, there's a lot of Lagavulin 16 fans.
Yep.
No,
Well,
it's a
great.
It's a
It's
damn
great.
good bottle.
There was a lot of comments about this is my daily drinker.
It's
This
a
is
good
my
bottle.
go-to scotch.
So if you're not drinking this stuff, you're missing out. Eventually, we've said it a million times. All roads lead to Isla. This there's a reason why. What's his name for Parks and Rec?
Nick Offerman.
Nick Offerman loves this bottle. I mean, it's delicious. It's so freaking good. It's perfect the way it is, straight out of the bottle.
I agree.
No, Eric had made a comment. He said anybody who says Lagavulin's gone to crap needs to visit the distillery. I mean, he's been there. I'm very curious to see 100% pure mustard.
What?
So you know that
There's a comment from somebody. 100% pure mustard.
You know, the funny, I mentioned
That's
it-
awesome.
I think I mentioned
I
it
wanna say
last
hey.
week about one of the sci-fi shows on, I think it's Amazon. It was Lost in Space. So I was watching that again because my wife's getting into it as well.
Right.
And Lost in Space, one of the guys on Lost in Space, so that's what year is that? 2050, 2100, whatever. Whenever they can go to different galaxies. One of the guys is a smuggler, and he smuggles two
Right.
different scotches. One of them is Lagavulin 16.
Yep.
Oh, I watched that.
And there's I forget what the other one is. One I wasn't familiar with, but Lagavulin 16 is one of the smuggled scotches in the future because it's great.
So, and now people are talking.
it's-
Some people are bringing up, Lagavulin's not their. I want to know more about the White Horse, but it's not their favorite Isla.
Yeah.
Is
Wonderful.
that
I get it. It might not be your favorite Isla.
But this is like the Nike of Scotch. I mean, it's like
I would say it's a lot of things. It's easily accessible. So there are a lot of liquor stores that you walk into where Lagavulin might be the only Isla on the shelf, right? It is reasonably priced in most areas. I mean, even for us, it's $100. I mean, you can go buy a
Right.
bottle of it. You know what I mean? And it's 16 years old for $100, so I don't consider it like outrageously expensive, even at that price point. And it's just a good drinker. I don't have any problems with it. Are there other ones? Like an Ardbeg 10 or something like that? Sure, man, I'd drink that too. You're at the right bar if you came for samples
Absolutely.
and to try stuff out. We're doing that tonight.
Yeah, I love Lagavulin, but I also like I love the other Islas too. They're all unique to me, and like we said earlier, I mean seriously, line them up and we'll smell them. Lefroy, bro. An Ardbeg.
Oh, yeah.
Lagavulin, right? It just they're unique. They are what they are. They bring their own profile to it, and I love them all for it. Now, if I had to pick one that I was gonna take to the bunker with me for the long haul, probably gonna be this one.
Yep.
Oh, I hope we don't end up in the bunker.
Yeah, everybody says that's where we're going. I don't know.
Clearly, I don't have enough Lagavulin for the bunker.
No, we can all go to Bud's house.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was very serendipitous that you showed up with this because it worked for answering these comments and talking about the topic.
Thank you
But
for that.
You're welcome.
it was fun to go through. Am I enlightened? Am I surprised? Not really. That's kind of what I expected. It's kind of, I mean, actually, it's what I hoped for. I'd hate to have seen some drastic change.
Oh my
in
gosh, it
it.
is crap.
Yeah,
No.
and been like,
Honestly, it was fun because we got to answer that question.
Yeah.
Yep.
right.
Because you don't know. I mean, I don't know. That was before we started our channel.
I was trying to go and see how much Bud wanted to pay for a 26-year Lagavulin, but
Bud was saying,
Now, you guys want to get into the distillery editions of the Lagavulin. See, we walked into it.
well, that's another story. That's another
I thought he
story.
was going to punch me because I was going to buy the bottle. I found it. I asked for it first. And he's like, "You going to buy it?" I'm like, "Yeah." And he just gives me a look like I'm the meanie. I'm like, "Yeah, I'm going to buy it."
Yeah,
Have you seen my coin?
But there's only one.
He didn't
It's
give
not
me
my
a
problem.
chance. He's just like, I'm buying it. I'm like, dude, I'm like, I think I even saw it first.
Tough luck. I asked her to get it down. You bring
Mark's
it.
buying it, and I'm
He
killing
did
it.
one of these things. He's
No,
like,
that guy's
hey,
gone. You guys are crazy. You guys already forced me to open one tonight that I didn't want to,
I'm
which
glad you did.
I'd
That was
like
great.
another glass
Thank you.
of it. Why don't you grab that bottle, please?
All right,
And-
so
okay.
we got a few minutes left, guys. Good show tonight. Thank you, Greg, for coming tonight. Thank you for sharing stuff. Thank you, Michael, for sharing your stuff as well. Lagavulin 16, our first. I mean, technically, we did do a re-review. I think it was Talisker.
Yeah.
That was
for
was that our 100th? I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, our 100th review.
yeah, that's been a long. It's
So we are
2
now
years.
we are close to 250, I think, reviews.
Wow,
So
really?
yeah.
Wow.
And so that's coming up. But, we've got a lot of things to be grateful for.
Have a glass,
Grateful
boys.
for you guys. Grateful for Greg. Grateful for all the friends.
We had
our
people
family.
from all over the world.
Oh, yeah.
Glasgow,
It was awesome.
Australia, an oil rig, and where?
Azerbaijan.
I gotta look
Yeah.
this up.
I don't even know.
Good time. Great show.
Yeah.
Hey, just a quick shout. 3 seats left, people.
3.
That's
3
it.
seats left on the bus. It is
How can they find out about more information?
Go to our website.
www.scotchfordummies.com. I mean, grab the last 3 seats because it's going to be epic.
Oh, it's gonna be
We're
so
still
fun.
working
I
on it.
cannot wait.
Things are
Now
definitely
that
heating
we've
up.
almost filled up the bus, now we're working on all the cool stuff we're going to do while we're on them.
all the merch, all the distillery extra
yeah.
things we're doing.
Wowzer. And just for those of you that are already on the bus, I did send out an email to everybody that's registered. I hope you got it. I'm looking for a reply. I did ask for some information back from you, so make sure you get back to us.
What's in store for the Horizon, guys?
What do we
It
got
sounds
going
like
on?
re-reviews are something we should do periodically because
Well, I can tease this much. Monkey Shoulder is coming.
Whoa.
We're gonna re-review that guy.
Yep.
Yep.
That's
I mean,
great everyday drinker.
We can probably do that
but
right now.
it's
So that's coming out.
Do we need to go late
It's
tonight,
coming
guys?
out.
and so we've got a couple. We're going to change a little bit of a format up, and we're going to throw a couple of quick hitters out here in the near future that are going to start popping out here and there.
Ones-twosies.
Not Monday reviews, but just quick hitter type things of some bottles that we want to review and get out there, but might not.
Do a 4-person.
Right,
Exactly.
full, right.
Right.
So be on the lookout for that kind of stuff.
Yep. Exactly.
We are heading down to Kentucky, hopefully here in a couple months.
Yep, so that's coming up.
We didn't get around to those tonight. We're
No,
out
but
of
we
town.
need to schedule that with Alan. Make sure.
Okay,
we
because
get,
since he's on.
it'd be awesome to actually have him on the show.
And
He's streaming
remember, Burns night in a couple days.
That's
Yeah,
right.
Saturday.
Get your haggis then.
No, Alan, I am a fan of the DE. I'm just answering a comment. So anyway, to Burns Night.
Thank you, everybody, for
Saw
joining us.
everyone. To the Haggis.
To the Haggis.
To the Haggis.
Yeah, haggis. We'll see you guys next
Cheers,
week.
everyone.
Cheers,
Thanks.
guys.